I'm Gloria Strode, and welcome to Straightforward. We really want to start off the new year with wonderful information for our parents and our children. And today I have Travis Chambers from the Omega Lamplighters program that provides mentoring to our young men. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So share with our audience, we've had so much in our community in terms of crime in our youth and things that they're getting involved with that's really not positive.
Right.
And so after speaking with you, I learned that the Omega fraternity, which you're a part of, Omega Psi-Phi, that you all have a mentoring program where you all are trying to go into the community and bring these young men in and be role models for them.
Absolutely.
Can you share that with our audience so in case we have parents that might not be aware, they can learn everything about it and how they can get their child involved?
Oh, absolutely. Omega Lamplighters, again, it's a mentor program, and we have identified about 20 mentees.
Oh, really?
And typically what we do is we reach out to the local high schools and speak to the counselors, and they give us 2 recommendations.
For each school, throughout the district?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is for at the high school level?
At the high school level.
All right, so that's where we kind of in a delicate place with them. Either we're going to keep them in school or we're going to lose them to the streets.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right,
Absolutely.
so that's why you all are focusing on that. Okay.
Right. So it consists of approximately 6 programs. And we bring them in, we have them to complete applications, and we track their GPAs because we want to make sure.
So the grade point average.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that they are excelling academically, and if not, we have the resources available to assist them.
Okay. So in case someone might be having a hard time in math, you try to pair that person with someone that's good in math.
Absolutely.
To bring up that academic.
Right.
Okay.
And they are held accountable every time they receive their progress reports. They have to bring them to us and let us sign off on them and et cetera. But it consists of about 6 programs. And just to name a few, it's as simple as the importance of communicating.
Yes.
Being able to give someone eye-to-eye contact.
Yes, that's so important.
A firm handshake
Yes.
when you're greeting someone. We also will have a financial advisor to come in, and one of the things that we do is we teach them about the stock market, how to
money management.
Money management.
Because we find out sometimes we get to college.
Absolutely.
People don't know how to manage their money.
Absolutely.
They spend it all in the first month,
Right.
and they didn't understand that it had to take them through the whole semester.
Right.
So we have a lot of confusion there.
Right.
So you all are trying to get them before they get to college.
Absolutely.
To help them with
as
that.
simple as how to write a check.
Yes.
How to balance a checkbook. How to open up an account.
Life skills.
Life skills. And then we'll have a financial advisor to come in, and our main goal is to maybe buy each mentee a share of stock and let them manage their portfolio.
Really?
So, I mean, it's a
it's a good incentive.
Right, absolutely.
So if you come and you're committed and you participate, then there is a reward in addition to whatever other information you've gained.
Absolutely.
And the experience.
And we also do they will be responsible for a community project where they may get together and they would choose a project, maybe helping rehab a home or painting a house, helping the elderly.
So they have to learn also how to give back.
Absolutely.
Because when we don't give back to our community, then we are a parasite.
You're right.
That means we're just takers.
Right.
And that's not being a good citizen.
You're absolutely right.
Exactly.
So it's a great program, and our main objective is to try to, pour into our youth. So when they get ready to graduate from high school, they can be productive citizens.
Right.
So
you teaching them the business etiquette, proper etiquette. When people are talking to you, you need to make eye contact, that good handshake. Because if that handshake is not good, it could be the difference of you getting a job or not, or not getting the job.
Yeah, and also dressing for success.
Now that is important.
Pulling your pants up, making sure that you have a belt on, shirt tucked in, teaching them how to tie a tie.
And that is so important because we have a lot of single parents, predominantly women.
Right.
And they don't know, and I learned this at church because we had someone come to Uncle Strode at church once and say, tie his tie. But those are things that we all take for granted.
Absolutely.
And so that's a wonderful thing,
Right,
because
right.
they need to, now we got wearing the bow ties, but back then it was the
Absolutely.
knot.
Right.
So you all are teaching them all of those skills as well.
Absolutely. So, I mean, those are some of the things that we're doing, and, you know, it's going great. And we currently, like I stated earlier, have over about 25 participants.
And you all do a scholarship too,
we do.
I was told,
Yes.
because I know we have one of our local people from Columbus that's at Albany State, which is our school, both
Right.
you and I, and of course Kia, your wife, and he received that scholarship.
Right.
So they can work to even get that in
Absolutely.
addition to that stock and all those other things.
Right, right. And we typically give out approximately $15,000 to $16,000 a year in scholarships. And
how do they qualify for that?
well, of course, they complete an application
And
through,
this is
through our foundation.
the mentee program.
Well, it's a pipeline.
Okay.
They complete the application, and we look at GPAs, and they have to answer a few questions, and we kind of grade them on a scale, and we identify who we're gonna,
Give it to.
give the scholarships
And of course,
to.
this is a committee.
It is.
So it's not, just Travis, one person in the room that's just going to
right.
pick.
Yeah, there's criteria.
Right,
yeah.
there is criteria. Do they have to have any writing skills?
They have to have writing skills.
So they do an essay or something like that?
They do an essay, and pretty much it's about themselves. What are your hobbies? What are your future aspirations, and et cetera. And then we have like I said, a grading scale.
Right.
And we typically have hundreds, about 150.
Really?
Well,
school is so expensive,
Right,
so
right.
everybody should be applying, and that's
Right.
why I wanted to highlight that today for our seniors. You should be applying for everything that you can, because waiting till May, later in the year, is too late, because most of the scholarships have been awarded.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
So those are some of the things that we do, and we do that through, we're able to get those funds through our golf tournament that we have
So
every
you have
year.
annual fundraisers.
Yeah,
Right.
big hats and bow ties and other events that we have, and we utilize those funds to help kids go to school and
be
buy
better
books
and be prepared.
Absolutely.
So do you all have a website so people can go and see and get more information, or?
Yes, it is www.lambdaiotaQs.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do is go to our sponsors, and then we're going to bring the Marshal in, and then we'll come back, the three of us, at the end and wrap it up.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
We'll be right back after a word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Chalk by Quincy introduces Excellence Redefined, timepieces of the finest technology, luxury, and class with tons of style at chalklifestyle.com. Renal Associates, LLC, a team of physicians dedicated to excellent kidney care with 5 convenient locations to serve you. Stark Avenue, Columbus, Bradley Park, Columbus, Lafayette Parkway, LaGrange, East Burkhalter Avenue, Buena Vista, and Springs Street in Warm Springs. The Framing Factory and Art Gallery, specializing in quality art and framing for all your needs. Original etchings, limited editions, and prints. Call Carlton Dickey Stay at 706-324-3823 or visit the Art Gallery at 1325 17th Street in Columbus.
Come meet your new best friend at Paws Humane.
Adopting from your shelter makes sense. You get a great friend checked by our vet. They're fixed, all shots, microchipped, all ready to make you and your family's life better. 4900 Milton Road, Columbus. Paws Humane.
Come meet your new best friend at Paws Humane.
And welcome back to Straightforward. Joining me for this segment is the one and only Marshal, Greg Countryman. Welcome, Marshal.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you have had the junior marshals, and you all get out and do all of that work in the community with the homeless and feeding people and providing toiletries and just a lot of things that you do outside of helping to keep the city as safe as we can. That's
Right.
your regular job, but these are your extra outreach
Exactly.
projects that you're doing to try to make a difference with our youth and in our community.
That's right.
We had you here last year, but we keep running into parents that need help with positive things for their children. So I wanted you to come and share with us today all this great information about the Junior Marshals program and how people can get in.
Well, thank you for having me. The Junior Marshal program is a 2-year program. It's in every middle school in
It's a
Muskogee
2-year
County.
program.
Yes, ma'am. It's
Okay.
actually a 2-year program. And so they start in the 7th grade and graduate in the 8th grade. Since its inception and since 2005, we've seen roughly about 2,000 children, and we've had a 100% success rate.
So you've been doing this has it been that long? More than
Since
10
2005.
years? More than a decade?
2005.
Really?
That was my first covenant with God when I took office. I said, if you place me here, I will use my influence to elevate kids that were just like me.
Right.
And so the Junior Marshal program is a program to where we focus on citizenship, leadership, education, fun, and teamwork. And so, but we've had a 100% success rate. We hadn't had any teen truancy, teen violence, gang violence, drug activity, any of the
So
above.
once they come on board, then they live up to that oath, like
Right.
your regular officers.
We have a Junior Marshal creed that they have to live up to.
Really?
And so we meet with them monthly. They have their own chapters, and we teach them things about how to conduct meetings. We teach them about Robert Rules of Order.
Oh, that's so important.
Right,
And they
exactly.
could probably teach some of the adults about
Exactly.
Robert's Rules of Order.
Exactly.
No, because there is a proper way to do things.
It is.
So I think that's very important that you're teaching them how to be leaders.
Right. Because if they're watching a city council meeting, they should know how the meeting should be conducted. And so we give them the tools, we train them, and we let them walk with it, because we feel like that if we can focus on citizenship, leadership, education, fun, and teamwork, that those are the traits and the attributes that every upcoming leader needs to be successful.
Exactly. And by doing that with them, you're giving them the tools to stay away from the gangs, and
Exactly.
it helps with a purpose and a sense of self. And
right.
of course, I know your work in the community, and I know in your other life you're a minister as well,
Right.
and you have great concern for what's happening with our youth.
Right.
And it seems like they're getting younger and younger, and they're seeking something.
Right.
And so you have the Junior Marshals program for the middle school,
Right.
and of course you're Omega as well as,
That's
as
right.
Travis. So you all have that for the high schoolers, but you are really doing a broader range of things over the 2-year period, because
Right.
you have them for longer.
Right. This is more of a ministry, if you will. I take it that serious, because our young kids are crying out
Yes, they
for
are.
help, and they're acting out for help. And I think about the parable that Jesus, when he spoke with the attorney, and the attorney asked Jesus, "What does it take to be a good neighbor?"
Yes.
And Jesus had to actually go through that. And at the end, Jesus told the attorney, "You do likewise." But we have a lot of our teens that are beat up
Yes.
and badgered, rejected, and they're left on the side of the road. But yet, sometimes we see these things, and just like the Levite and the priest, when we get up to it, we choose to walk by on
And
the
look
other
the
side.
other way.
And so we can't do that anymore, because we have to reach our children one child at a time, one household at a time,
And
one
where
school.
they are.
And where they are.
Exactly.
That's
and
right.
in my
And that's a major thing.
Yeah, where they are. In my past life, I was in, social work. I was a juvenile tracker. And then what you will really find is a lot of the children, just the environment that they're in. And then,
Amen.
I'm not judging people, because people do the best they can based
That's
on
right.
the tools that they have.
That's right.
You have to see different to do different. If
That's
you,
right.
never saw anybody, getting up, going to work every day, or, then you imitate what you see.
Exactly.
But instead of us talking about them, I think we have a responsibility, Marshall, I agree with you on that, to meet them where they are.
Right.
If we see them, and I know people say, well, you can't talk to the kids because they'll do whatever. But that hasn't been my experience.
Mine either.
Because if they see that you genuinely care, they will receive you.
Right.
Now, the one thing they don't need is people just always stepping on them. And a lot of them, that's what they've had.
Exactly. You can't, when a child is struggling with something, you can't beat them over the head. You have to gently come to them. You have to engage them softly. And so that's one thing that I've always done, because one of the biggest joys for me is seeing them come back 5 and 6 years later to
and they're
work
successful.
That's right.
And then you're sticking your chest
Georgia
out.
Tech or University of Georgia
Right.
or military
Yes.
academy, and we've had some that honestly I didn't think would make it through the program, but those guys are Marines now.
Yes.
They're in the
and that
military.
requires a lot of discipline when you're in the
discipline.
military.
A lot of discipline.
Yes, and so that's worth all of your work, the blood, sweat, and tears, the
Amen.
begging for the money to try
That's
to
right.
keep all of that funded, and of course, taking
right.
money from your family to help support those things.
That's right.
One year you had them under the bridge with the homeless.
Right.
That's very humbling,
Yes,
you know,
ma'am.
because if you have a warm place to sleep, and you have food to eat, and you can take a bath whenever you want to. We take a lot of those things for granted.
That's right.
So for you to take them under the bridge, and we saw them, they were bringing gloves and socks and food and that kind of thing. So I know that had to be life-changing for many of them.
Oh, it was, and it was life-changing for those up under the bridge to see younger people come to them and to bring them bags and rakes and food, if you will, because if you're going to be a leader, then
Yes.
you need to know what's going on in your community.
Yes, you do.
You know, you know.
It's not them and us.
No,
It's all of us.
it's all of us. And Columbus can't be great until everybody wins.
Say that again, Marshall. Columbus cannot be great until everybody wins. And all of us have to move together, forward together, no one left behind, no big eyes or little U's.
That's right.
And I tell people this, we need our mechanics, we need the cooks, you know, the folks that are working in the carpenters, the electrician, oh Lord, and they make a lot of money.
That's right.
You know, I was dressed up and had an office job and pretty much was broke because I worked
right.
for the state.
right.
And then I had the person that worked on my air condition, you know, made more money just on that than I probably made all week.
That's right.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our sponsors. We're going to bring Travis back in, and we'll finish the conversation.
Great.
All right. We'll be right back after a word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Warrior Outreach. Contact Command Sergeant Major Retired Sam Rhodes or Kathy Rhodes. Freedom Printing for all of your designer printing needs. Gunboat Plaza, Suite 18. The Hugel Foundation, enriching the community through Christian music support, community outreach, and the Georgia Through Photography Project. For more information, call B at 706-568-6431. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. Best Care, transforming minds and bodies, leading the way in the latest techniques of medical weight loss and wellness. Certified in family medicine and bariatrics, Dr. Blunt is ready to assist in the transformation of your mind and body. Call today, 706-221-6477, or visit bestcarecolumbus.com. East Alabama Endocrinology, educating and caring for those living with diabetes in Alabama and Georgia. 1400 Bradley Lake Boulevard, 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika. Take charge of diabetes and live your best life. Kia Chambers School Board at Large, the Gold Star Program. Paving the path to success through academic achievement, student empowerment, leadership development, and citizenship. Encouraging all students to reach for the stars.
History is important because it shows where you're coming from and where you're going. Type 2 diabetes is something that runs in my family, which means I'm at risk. In fact, 1 in 3 American adults are at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. And knowing this, if I do nothing, that family history becomes my family's future. And my family is too important to me for that. Take the risk factor assessment today at AskScreenKnow.com.
And welcome back to Straightforward. We're having a great conversation today with Travis Chambers from the Omega Lamplighters program and our one and only Marshal, Greg Countryman, with the Junior Marshals program. We have to get a plan to do better in our community. We certainly appreciate what the Marshal you've been doing for more than a decade, and it seems like time just really has flown by. Right. And of course the Omegas and what you're doing with our high schoolers, we're trying to prepare them, young men with life skills, job seeking, dressing for success, finance, just how to handle themselves, preparing them for college. You're getting them at middle school, which is a very critical stage, but we need to really get them at elementary school.
That's right.
You know, I was so dismayed last week when I read in the news that a 12-year-old, and I know, Marshall, you know this, was busted with marijuana at a gas station on the south side. But I don't judge him because I don't know what his home situation is. And in my other life as a social worker, and I worked at Marshall Middle School at the time that served children from 5 public housing projects. You know, if your mother left on Saturday and you haven't seen her and it's Monday, you do what you do to survive. Right. So I'm not going to judge that because I've been in the homes to see. And that's not to put the mother down because we don't know what drove her to that road. But I think we have, with the 40-something murders last year in this community, we have to do something. Right. And we have to do it early.
And one other thing that we have to realize that in some homes, and I do this speech called from the bedroom to the classroom. And we have to understand that a lot of our young men out here are traumatized.
Yes.
And they are facing some serious issues of rejection, of not having a father.
Yes.
Waking up in the morning, not having food in the house. You're having to wear your brother's clothes, your brother is having to wear your clothes.
And some of them are too small.
Too small.
I'm trying to wear your shoes, and you've worn them in, and then they're too small.
Exactly.
I'm walking to school and I don't have a coat, so you see me with my arms pulled in my shirt.
That's right.
And then we ride by.
That's right.
Then it's just like what you were, you know, using the Bible, the parable as an example. Then we're the guilty ones.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know.
Because we have a duty to be a voice for those that don't have a voice. We have a duty to take care of our poor, our fatherless, our motherless, those that are in prison. Because if we're going to be followers of Christ, then we have to get out of our comfort zone. And what happens, what I see a lot of times is people will gain success, but they will draw a circle around that success.
Who they want to serve.
And they operate within that circle. And so they've been operating for so long, they don't see what's over here in this other circle. So we have to, as human beings, we have to come outside of our comfort zone, and we have to be uncomfortable in order to meet the needs of others. So once we can operate outside of that circle, our circle expands, and we can do more for our community.
Right. We have to enlarge our territory.
Right.
That's right.
And you're absolutely right, Mr. Countryman, Marshal Countryman. I think community involvement is the key. You know, as I think about my childhood,
you was a playground
That's
kid.
right, up at Belvedere Park, up at the rec.
Yeah.
But you know,
they almost have to put an APB out to
That's
get
right.
you were going to be there from sun up to sundown.
Right. But we had a recreation director, Miss Lightfoot, bless her soul. She held, I mean, that was my second parent.
Exactly.
You know, if she wanted to see our grades, she made sure that we had our shirts tucked in, and if we were hungry, she had a kitchen and give us snacks and etc. So I think, you know, community involvement is the key, which we don't have anymore. I mean, when you ride by Belvedere Park, you know,
it's closed.
It's closed. No one's doing anything. You know. So we got to go back to the basics.
We really do. And we used to call them the playground teachers. And of course, I had Miss Christine Allen, and her mother was Miss Elizabeth Moses. Miss Allen was at Carver. Miss Moses was at BTW. My first trip to Six Flags was on the Columbus Parks and Recreation green bus.
Wow.
With Mr. Haygood and the people from BTW.
Right.
Rat and all of them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So my daddy was going to his job. You know that. He wasn't taking off to go to Six Flags because we didn't even know what it was then. I was just happy to get there. But those are the kinds of things. And when we say, oh, well, we have this over here and this over here, we have to remember not everybody have a car.
That's right.
And we don't have mass transit in this city. I'm not trying to be negative, but in this city, we don't have the trains or the buses that's going all night. They actually stop at a certain time. And some parts of the community, they don't even run.
That's right.
Right.
So we can't say, well, they can get on the bus and go. You know, so we have to remember those things, and we have to do better as leaders in the community to go out, as the Marshal said, meet people where they are,
Right.
and just figure out what we can do. And it doesn't always have to be something big.
That's right.
Like you all with the kids under the bridge.
That's right.
And then you just had another event over at Baker
At
Middle
Baker,
School.
we did a dodgeball challenge. And so as long as we can interact with those children and just seeing the look on those children's face and see how they interact with not only people that look like them, but people that didn't look like them, that showed me more that there's a need for fathers.
Yes.
That there is a need for our kids to be communicated with. They need someone that they can talk with. And so, and when we walked outside after the event, we heard gunshots. So we made sure that every child got a ride home. And that was big, not only to them, but it was a blessing to us.
Right.
And so.
And this was just a
right.
kickball competition,
Dodgeball.
tournament, didn't cost a lot of money,
No.
just needed a space
That's right.
and time and commitment.
Right.
right.
And a lot of times we have children that can't participate in things like soccer, tennis, and golf because that's a budgetary issue.
That's right.
You know, if you make your mom working 2 jobs and they both pay the minimum wage, she got to pay the rent, light, gas, water. A good thing if you got cable, you might not even have internet. And I tell people that you assume because you have it, everybody else got it. Well, they don't.
That's right.
Right.
You know, so we can do some things back to the old playground that don't cost money, just cost time
Right.
That's right.
and commitment. And
Absolutely.
that's how we're going to save our children, because
Absolutely.
we're going to lose a whole generation if we don't. And that's not to throw shade on people, it's just the hard, cold facts. You have 40 murders in a year or whatever it is, homicides or whatever they want to call it, that's serious. That is really serious. So Marshall, tell us before we run out of time how they can reach you. The Junior Marshals program is for middle schoolers,
Middle schoolers.
and it's a 2-year program.
2-year program.
And then Travis has the Lamplighters with the Omegas, but he's going to tell us how you all can be reached. We
Right.
need your personal numbers in case the
Absolutely.
mothers want to call.
Okay,
All
you
right?
can reach me at 706-225-3380. It's my direct number. My work cell phone number is 706-329-9317. Feel free to give me a call.
Okay.
And I'm Travis Chambers, and I can be reached at 706-681-1939.
All
And that's
right.
my personal cell.
All right, so we are telling the mothers that might need your support. And sometimes, and I've emailed you about a couple and you've taken them
Exactly.
under your wings.
That's right.
But they can reach out to you because it might just require a conversation from a man to a young fella.
Absolutely.
And that might make the difference.
Exactly.
Well, I thank you all so much for coming today. We'll have to come back again later in the year and continue this conversation.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.